Hi, I'm Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Mike, and welcome aboard to our brand new podcast called Taking Off with Mike and Jen.
In this podcast, we will be diving in and unpacking all the baggage. Anything from communication to finances, family dynamics, expectations, and what it looks like to fight or flight.
We have 32 years of marriage and a lot of Christian counseling under our belts. So no matter where you find yourself, whether that's being single, dating, engaged, or married, this podcast is just for you.
Are you ready to take your relationships to new heights?
If so, sit back, relax. We have been cleared for takeoff. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Flight 11. Thank you for coming back to this little airline experience. Why do we call it Taking Off with Mike and Jen?
Tell them, babe.
Because I am a airline pilot and my wife is a flight attendant. And so we know a lot about baggage. We know a lot about turbulence. And not only in the aviation world, we know a lot about turbulence and baggage in our own relationship, don't we? 32 years of marriage. We're still here. We're still firing on all cylinders. And believe me, it didn't start off that way. If you haven't watched our other podcasts, go back and watch them, listen to them, be a part of our relationship and how we have come a long, long way.
So,
first fight.
Well, so that's why.
What was the first fight?
Dance floor.
Right after we got married. She shoved cake in my face. Second fight.
Honeymoon.
Honeymoon.
He's checking out some chick.
Anyway, that's who we are. Thanks for joining us. Flight 11. Keep dating your partner.
Yes, yes.
All right. So let's take off. Go for it.
Oh, no, you go. Go first.
Okay, my dear. So when we first started off, I was an East Coast guy. Jennifer was a West Coast girl. She would fly out and see me on her days off. I would fly in my little rented airplane, go pick her up, take her to dinner. I mean, it was full on. It was pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
You felt like this guy spent a lot of time, et cetera, et cetera. We were on the phone with each other all the time.
A lot of communication.
Major communication. I mean, when people do not spend time together, they can't communicate. I'd say that's pretty obvious, right? So we went to movies. We had all kinds of fun. But then as you get deeper into the relationship, things start to kind of lose its excitement, right? It's luster. And it's real easy then to start pulling back in that, you know, real
I don't
pursuing.
need to try as hard.
Yeah, that pursuing that you...
It's just natural. Yeah, that's natural. It's normal.
But you have to fight that. You have to fight that in a relationship to keep it feeling. And it's not always going to feel fantastic, but just the more you work at it, the better off you are in your relationship, right?
Right.
I love analogies. So just a few of them. If I don't work out, I'm not going to be in shape, right? If I never do maintenance on my car, how do you think the car is going to run? It's going to run like crap. If I never take a bath, I'm going to smell like crap. So if I don't work on my relationship and I get lazy, I'm going to have a crap relationship. And so that's just kind of a basic analogy. I put no time into something, it's not going to be good. And you can see that in a relationship the exact same way, right?
Yeah, 100%.
All right. So questions that people have had. They've written in, they have voiced their concerns. Go over a few of them with them.
So one of the questions we received was, how do we make date nights happen during busyness? And then you're tired, you plan it, and then by the time date night comes, you're exhausted. And you don't basically want to go out on that date.
So being the fact that you're much older than me, why don't you cover that one?
Okay. So we talked about this a little bit because we did get the question.
He was a senior and I was a freshman. Imagine that. Picture that.
I probably wouldn't have dated him in high school.
She wouldn't have.
But anyway, so I think with that question, because that happens, and it happens more so, I think, I mean, I don't want to stereotype, but more so as you get older, you have kids, you have grandkids, you're running around with sports, just you're busy and you're tired. People that aren't married, that are dating, obviously you could be exhausted too because you guys have busy. A lot of you are grinding, trying to get to where you want to be, So you're exhausted too. So I guess it's just you have to be very intentional. So even though a date, because this happened with us, a date can be planned, we're excited to go, and then maybe a monkey wrench gets thrown in because something happens during that day and it makes it even more tiring. And you're like, oh, that came up at work, or oh, that came up with a friend, or whatever it is. And you come home and all of a sudden you're looking at your partner and you're like, I'm tired. Are you tired? Yeah, let's just stay home. We've done that sometimes. We've done that. But then other times when, you just really need that reconnection, that's where you have to be very intentional and you force yourself. You go home, you say, I'm tired, but you could tell the other person is excited. So put your big boy or big girl pants on, go get dressed, splash a little cool water on your face, do what you have to do to freshen up, and start getting your mindset of, we are going on this date no matter what, no matter if I'm tired, whatever. We're married. It happens, and I've told him it happens with other things. I'm too tired. I don't want to have sex tonight. Guess what? You just do it, and it feels good. So same thing. Same thing with dating.
I like when we don't talk about what we're going to talk about, and then you just bring things up. That makes it for fun. We're
just who we are. So
who knows what this girl's going to say?
So that's why I'm saying you have to do it. You just have to be intentional. And this has happened with us, and we end up having a good time. We end up reconnecting. We end up talking about things. You get a good night's sleep. You sleep when you're dead, right? So
I like that.
Yeah.
One thing too I like to think about is if this was the last date that you could go on, it's a frame of mind. That. You are absolutely going to be in a frame of mind. If this is the last date I can go on with Jennifer, or if tomorrow Jennifer isn't here, or tomorrow I'm unable to do this or do that, how am I going to look at today? And so all of a sudden it's going to snap my mind into, don't be an idiot, Mike.
Go.
Let's just go do this thing. Your tiredness, you're this, that, and the other. You're not going to be thinking tomorrow when you don't have the ability.
Right.
Oh, gosh, I wish I would have done it.
And, there's something, too. You come home from work. Now, as you know, we're both airlines. So we wear uniforms. We don't go out on dates in our uniforms. But, if you're at work and you're tired, it always helps, too, to just go home, put on different clothes, put on date clothes, do it with intentionality that you want to still impress and have your other person look at you and go, you look hot tonight. You look beautiful, Put a little effort. And not all dates will take effort. Some are a walk in the park. Some are, let's just sit outside and watch the sunset and talk about stuff,
Oh, yeah. So who should plan the date night?
What do you think?
Well, my opinion is I like it to go both ways sometimes. However, there's a leadership issue here. And for me, leadership issue is if my wife wants to feel like knight in shining armor is taking her out for dinner, that is definitely a leadership issue. I would not have any sort of a leadership issue when I first met her. I would be thinking right off the bat, we could do this, I can do this, I can impress her here, I can take her here. And then, 10 years later, 5 years later, 1 year later, that luster is gone. You need to fire it back up. Get into that leadership position as a guy. Be the leader. I realize at the same time, you want her to maybe come up with some plans, surprise you. That's fun as well. But the bottom line is be a leader as a guy.
Yeah. And, we are a little bit older. I'm old school. Michael's really good at planning. That's the thing. I'm good at surprising. I'm good at that, I feel like. So those are once every, months, bam, years, whatever. But for just day-to-day dating, I'm honest. I'm not as good as that. He is better at that. And because possibly my age or just how I was raised, I don't know. I kind of like the pursuit. So to me, if he is planning a date and I don't know about it, and he says, hey, next Thursday, we're going to go on a date. That, to me, makes me feel like he's still pursuing me. And so I like that. Now, again, communication is key. If he keeps planning these dates and he just wants a break, it's so okay for him to say, honey, I've been planning all these dates lately and I love it, but it'd be nice every once in a while if you could, plan something, just be fun. That doesn't hurt my feelings. It doesn't bother me. Don't take it personally, and just step up and be like, okay, let's do this. And I try and think of things that he likes to do. He loves a lot of outdoor activities. I like outdoor activities, but not as much in the health workout area as he does. But I'll say, hey, maybe let's go for a bike ride when I get home from my next trip if the weather's nice or whatever. And, simple things.
It's certainly about communication. And who should initiate is another question that came in, is who should initiate it?
Yeah.
It's a back and forth. It's about communication. It's always fun to have the other person initiate, but keep that in mind. You're not sitting there and waiting, just saying under your breath, I wish Jennifer would initiate this.
Right.
Or I wish Michael would initiate this. And then you kind of dig your heels in and you're just sitting there waiting for the other to initiate, and they don't. Again, I would say from a leadership standpoint, be a leader, step up. Maybe it's not exactly your DNA. Maybe who you really are is not an initiator, but when you were dating in the beginning, you certainly had to initiate or nothing would have happened.
Yeah.
So again,
back.
sometimes you have to do the things that you maybe don't come natural to you, but you know that they're a positive.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Let's talk about what not to do.
Okay.
So something that she and I went through for sure is Jennifer was quiet in the past about this situation. I've come a long way and have learned a lot. But she would be quiet, hoping under her breath that I would initiate, that I would be a leader, that I would plan these things out. And I wouldn't, because it's life. I'm lazy. Maybe it's just not my total thing, whatever it is. And she would start to get this resentment, and it would build up, and she wouldn't say anything, and it would build up, and she wouldn't say anything. And you can see where this is going, right? And so all of a sudden, she's had enough, and then it's just nothing but a bunch of garbage coming out. And it's like, holy smokes, where did this monster come from? Well, it was just a small turn up the heat very, very slowly, because I wasn't initiating. I wasn't, acting as a leader. She wasn't communicating with me what she really wanted and what was important to her. And so then it all just boiled over very, very poorly. And of course, making assumptions about what you think your partner doesn't do, what they like, what they love. Assumptions, if you've never heard this,
they'll get you killed.
Assume, spell it out, makes an ass out of you and me. That's assume. So don't make assumptions. Again, we keep saying it, communicate, communicate, communicate. And when you are first dating, that's all you do is talk. You talk like crazy. No wonder it goes well, because you communicate these things over and over again. So that's what's not to do. What to do: communicate with each other kindly, not in a whiny fashion. I want to go somewhere. I want a pony.
Okay,
I want this, that, or the other.
I don't talk like that.
But the point is,
he's right. He is right.
Nothing's going to get you into a fight faster than if you have a communication problem, right? You want to be able to communicate calmly. That might mean communicate after you've woken up.
Asking for what you want. We don't, for some reason, I feel like in life, most of us don't have a problem asking for what we want. But then all of a sudden we're with our partner and we've been with them for a while. And then all of a sudden we have a problem asking for what we want. And we expect our partners to be mind readers.
Right.
And I'm maybe more at fault of that than you.
100%. Thank you for taking responsibility for that.
Than you are. And so, I would expect him to, let's go on a date. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's talk. Let's hang out. And when he didn't do it, maybe because women are more relational, I would literally make movie scenes in my head. And I would play out these movie scenes of why he wasn't asking me on a date or treating me differently, or let's go here, let's go to dinner. I would play out, I had a whole Hallmark, but it wasn't Hallmark. It was more of a soap opera in my head. And I didn't think I needed to ask him or remind him that I wanted to go on a date. I didn't think I needed to do that. And I didn't think I needed to do that because if he loves me, he's going to do it. Well, I had to learn the hard way and through many fights that we had that he can't read my mind. So it's
exactly.
Yeah. So it's okay for me to now, and I do it now, to say, hey, we haven't been on a date in a long time. That doesn't mean he doesn't love me. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to go on a date. It doesn't mean he doesn't want to pursue me. It's just life does get busy, and we have to give each other that grace and that forgiveness without a whininess, and to be able to say, hey, Michael, I don't feel like we've been on a date in a long time. Can we plan something? Do you want to plan it? Do I want to plan it? And just kind of keep it light and not take it so personally, because if you were honest with yourself and you look at yourself and had to do all the planning or thinking or pursuing, you would be at fault as well. So,
and as an example, communication wise, if I hear Jennifer say, we haven't been on a date in a really long time, I want to go on a date, I can take that as, okay, I've let her down. I've not done my job. Or she could say, hey, honey, when was the last time that we went on a date? It's just a simple question.
Mm-hmm.
I have to answer that. 7 months ago. And then her response should be, well, let's go on a date. Because that has been 7 months. I love dates.
Mm-hmm.
Not, oh my gosh, it's been 7 months.
Right.
We need to go on a date. It's the same exact thing that we're wanting. It's just how it's asked.
Yeah. And then,
you're not basically cutting me down.
Right.
By saying it's been forever since we've been on a date. Ask the question.
Right. Just, yeah. Exactly.
You got a good idea on what do you do? How,
okay. So this, I won't take full credit. It's not it's not my idea. So a while back ago, Michael and I went to a marriage hosting, learn how to host marriages, couples, things like that, to a company called WinShape. And they're not far from here. We're in Georgia, by the way. If we've ever said that. Not that it matters. But anyway, they're wonderful and great organization. So we went on host couple training for a weekend and learned a lot, obviously, through them. They have the experts, the counselors, they have everything, and did just a lot of challenges, things like that. Had a really good time. But they have like a little Instagram WinShape thing and then a marriage thing as well. And they have the great idea, and I think it's great, is go through the alphabet. Mm-hmm. So if you feel like you've exhausted, okay, we go to movies, there's no movies. We go to dinner at the same place, maybe try somewhere new, whatever. But I love this idea. You just start with A. You just start wherever you and your partner want to start, but they say A. And you go through this list of all these A's of different things that you could do. Aquarium. What's another one? I can't even think right now.
But that's a hard one. Airlines.
Maybe take a small trip, a day trip. I don't know. But there's all these different things that you could list with the letter A and then pull those into maybe a date night. And then you go to B and C, there's a lot. And so WinShape kind of did that. And so you can always look on their website and look at their list. But it's a good idea. It just gives you different ideas, because you do kind of start to run out of ideas on what to do if you're not routine people and don't want to do the same thing,
So really the bottom line is what we're saying in regards to all this is, it's hard to keep it alive, just like it's hard to continue to exercise. It's hard to take your car in and get maintenance done. It's just hard sometimes to do the things that you need to do in order to have things go well.
Keep it fresh.
But what is the most important thing before the car, before we're working out? It's going to be the relationship, obviously, right? So work on that if you're going to work on anything. Work on the relationship, communicate with your partner.
Don't have expectations.
And expectations at the beginning of the end.
Now for us, it is a little bit different. As you know, we both travel. So we'll be gone from each other for 3 days to 5 days at a time, and then come back together. So a lot of times our dates have now that the kids are out of the house, I'm a homebody. I've become more of a homebody than he is. He could come home from a 5-day international trip and go out that night. And now I need a little more time. So we're communicating through that. We've had to work through a little bit of that because he's used to me going, yeah, let's go. And now I'm slowing down just a little bit.
Grandma.
Our kids aren't even married. But
So
acting like a grandma.
Acting like a grandma.
And so for us, we just communicate and be like, okay, let's stay home and watch movies, have popcorn, stay home with the dogs. I also feel bad about leaving the dogs. I've been gone for 3 days. I want to stay home with my dogs. But the point is, oh my, the point is, communicate and not have the expectation. If there's times when now I've been home and I want to go out, I might say, hey, let's go out somewhere. Let's do something. So it changes all the time. And so just be aware of that. But, you want to be married 30 years, 40 years, 50, 10, 5, 2. And try not to become complacent.
Yep.
Just make it purposeful.
Yep.
Make it intentional. Nothing's more important, as Michael said, than keeping this solid. Because if this stays solid, you're a team, and everything else will fall into place. And
Absolutely.
At least you can handle it as a team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that wraps it up.
That was kind of a quick one.
The next thing that we're going to talk about on flight number 12 is outside forces and how outside forces affect your relationship.
Yes.
Many times, if you were isolated on a deserted island, you didn't have family, you didn't have work, you didn't have all those things
You didn't have friends.
that affect you big time in your relationship, things would be great, but that's not the reality of life. So, to finish this thing off, I'm going to say one more aviation-related thing.
And there is going to be a fun story, a very interesting, fun fight story on Flight 12.
Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
We meant to-
Expectations.
We meant to say it in another flight earlier and never did. And so this ties into this perfectly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So like and subscribe. I've heard it a billion times. I'm not
to be
saying
honest,
like and subscribe anymore.
I don't like it. I hate like and subscribe. I
But
don't
it
like
helps
saying
us.
it. I'm done with it.
It helps us, right? So we're going to change it up from here on out. Because it's aviation world for me, it's gear down, clear to land. That means like and subscribe. Gear down, clear to land. That's what it is.
That's what he's going to say.
So from here on out, the very end is you saying like, subscribe, gear down, clear to land. See you later, folks. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.